For generations, the cultural image of Albus Dumbledore has remained largely untouched. He is the ultimate grandfather figure, the undisputed protector of the wizarding world. But that comforting image fractures the moment you examine his very first major decision. He deliberately left an orphaned baby on the doorstep of a notoriously abusive household. This initiates a baffling documented pattern. Year after year, he allowed his own students to face mortal danger rather than directly intervening with his vast, nearly unmatched power. Albus Dumbledore operated as a ruthless utilitarian general. He played a cold 17-year game of chess, using human lives as his expendable pieces. To understand exactly how the ultimate evil was actually defeated, we have to audit the dark moral calculus of Dumbledore's overarching master plan. The first major cost on Dumbledore's ledger is the psychological environment he intentionally forced upon young Harry Potter. Placing the boy with the Dursleys served a highly specific psychological function. It guaranteed Harry would endure a full decade of severe emotional starvation. This illustrates the savior complex. We see how an abused child reacts to sudden rescue. Starved of love for 11 years, they naturally form a fanatical bond with the exact person providing that care. Dumbledore explicitly manufactured this dynamic. He positioned Hogwarts as the boy's sole glowing sanctuary and established himself as the only viable father figure. By weaponizing childhood trauma, Dumbledore systematically conditioned Harry. The boy was psychologically primed to walk to his own death when the endgame finally arrived. We see this same cold calculus applied to his adult allies. Consider a lonely, stormy hilltop immediately following the murder of Lily Potter. Severus Snape is shattered by grief, pleading for help. Dumbledore offers zero comfort, no empathy, and absolutely no solace. Instead, the interaction is brutally transactional. Dumbledore's immediate, calculating response is to demand what Snape is willing to give him in return. He utilized Snape's immense, paralyzing guilt as a psychological leash. He forced a broken man into a miserable 17-year existence as a despised double agent. The ultimate cruelty of this arrangement comes at the end. Dumbledore orders Snape to murder him, destroying Snape's soul and reputation entirely just to preserve a tactical advantage. For Dumbledore, an ally's sanity and reputation were secondary to the tactical necessity of the war, making the preservation of Snape's soul a luxury he chose not to afford. The true genius of this calculus pays off in a dark graveyard, revealing the hidden logic behind decades of apparent cruelty. In Year 4, when Voldemort uses Harry's blood to resurrect, a distinct gleam of triumph appears in Dumbledore's eyes, a reaction that seems entirely at odds with the return of his greatest enemy. By taking the boy's blood, Voldemort unwittingly absorbed Lily's protection spell directly into his physical body. This turned the Dark Lord into a living tether. Even if Voldemort destroyed the Dark Shard within Harry, the boy would survive the killing curse. Dumbledore did not raise a child for slaughter. He orchestrated a microscopic, high-stakes magical loophole to snatch the boy's life back from the edge of absolute destruction. Dumbledore's final ledger reveals a man of contradictory extremes. Where preserving peace required the quiet violation of his own moral principles, he is the tragic embodiment of the burden of leadership. He was forced to practice a ruthless, unrelenting utilitarianism to ensure the literal survival of the wizarding world. True heroism sometimes requires a leader to intentionally damn their own soul and commit unspeakable moral sins in the dark, simply so the rest of humanity can survive in the light.